Let's bring in Guy Benson. He joins us now. He's a political editor for townhall.com, host of Fox News Radio's The Guy Benson Show, and a Fox News contributor. First to the Breathe Act, Guy. I want to dig into this proposal here. It's wide-ranging. Everybody should take a second to look at the details of it. But here's some of the highlights. Defunding prisons and police departments, dismantling ICE and CBP, grant all ex-convicts voting rights, reparations for victims of police violence. This proposal was unveiled by two members of the so-called squad, as you know, yesterday, Guy. Rashida Tlaib used the words for this proposal to call it a new vision of public safety. The American people, if they dig through this, are going to be asking themselves, does this make us more safe or less, Guy?
Of course, it wouldn't make us more safe. It is a non-starter. It's a completely radical piece of legislation that has 0% chance of passing. Certainly, with the Republicans in control of the Senate and Donald Trump in the White House, it will not become law. I'm not even sure Nancy Pelosi is terribly eager to put this on the floor for a vote in the House of Representatives, because it is filled with poison pills, even for a number of Democrats. And so, look, they can put this out. I think it is helpful when politicians tell us what their vision is for the country. And in this case, their vision is to defang the police and abolish major mechanisms for law enforcement, whether it's drug enforcement, immigration enforcement, prisons. I mean, it is, I think, telling and striking that amid a spike in violent crime in a lot of cities where the police feel like they've had their knees cut out from under them, you have some Democrats and people way out on the left saying, let's take that model basically and let's enshrine it in law and make it nationwide. I think a lot of Americans would say, no, thank you. And one other point, we talked there a moment ago, Doug McElway in his report mentioned the clashes here in D.C. where you had people arrested. They were blocking motorists in Washington. They weren't allowing traffic to come through. People had to turn around. We've seen these types of completely unacceptable, quote unquote, protest tactics in other places recently, Washington State, Atlanta, and has resulted in violence and in some cases death. It is dangerous. And I think that cities need to be held responsible. People who are in charge, politicians with power, need to be held responsible. And the police need, I'm in favor of reform, but they need to be allowed to do their jobs.
But still, Rashida Tlaib in her announcement saying this is a new vision of, for public safety. She says that this is one of the largest movements for justice. She says this is here in defense of Black lives. But again, if you dig into the details, other provisions that are in this proposal, abolishing surveillance tactics, Guy, which includes electronic monitoring, by the way, the elimination of gang databases. To your point, this is not even likely to pass the Democratic-controlled House, because still you have so many of those House Democrats not willing to support the defund the police movement, Guy.
Well, the defund the police movement is wildly unpopular and completely unpractical and quite dangerous. I mean, I think it's very interesting that these particular Democrats are calling for more databases to track the behavior of the police. And I think some more accountability, transparency, that sort of thing, I think that's reasonable. But they also want to destroy and eliminate databases of criminals and gang members. I'm curious how that would make people feel, or in real life be, more safe. This does not strike me as a public safety law. This strikes me as sort of a hodgepodge of left-wing wish list items that they are cramming into a bill and saying that it's about Black lives, when it's about an agenda that's existed for a very long time. It predates the current controversy. And as I said, I think it's a complete zero. It has no chance, and it shouldn't.
I want to pivot now to this upcoming task force briefing from the Department of Education. Parents across this country want to know if their kids will be going back to school and getting back in the classroom this fall, Guy. Here's Vice President Mike Pence last night with Brett on Special Report talking about just that. Listen.
It's far beyond academics that millions of families rely on our local schools. Many of our children that struggle with emotional challenges or disabilities, they receive those services at school. Add into that nutrition, add into that other ways that we serve our kids. It's absolutely essential that we get back to school.
The president took it a step further, saying that he's basically vowing to put pressure on the governors to reopen the schools in the fall. Everybody agrees this has to be done safely, of course, Guy. But where does all of this go, and what do you expect to hear from the administration this morning on that?
Yeah, look, it needs to be done safely. I think there should be flexibility for school districts, and they should be allowed to be nimble based on the data that they're getting. And it's not a top-down approach from Washington, D.C., although I think the president and the vice president are right that this is a very important priority. And even if there's viewers out there saying, well, Trump's saying that because he has his political interest in mind, and the vice president always agrees with the president, I would also note that just the other day, Dr. Fauci said something similar, saying it's very important to get kids back to school in the fall. And Sandra, I suspect you know this better than I do. I don't have kids, but a lot of my friends who do have kids, when we talk about coronavirus, we talk about the next few months, the number one concern that comes up, I think, to a person of these parents is what's going to happen with my kids in the fall for school. Because it's not just the well-being of students and the education of students, which is really important. It's the functionality of adults' lives, their ability to go to work, their ability to provide for their family, their ability to be, productive at work. Because right now, a lot of people, at least in the spring and early summer, were doing double duty. And many of them still are, because many camps are closed and summer school programs where people are trying to do their job, many of them working from home. If they can't work from home, childcare is an enormous problem. I mean, this is an intricate issue that has so many ripple effects throughout our society. And if we get around to the fall and children are still being barred from going back to school, I think that's going to be a very serious problem for virtually everyone involved.
Guy, to your point, it's an enormous amount of uncertainty, both from the working parent angle, but also to not know what the future of your child is. The virtual learning didn't work for so many people, and the lack of messaging that is coming from our state's governors on this. And as you've got the HHS Secretary, Alex Azar, talking about the mortality rate among the lowest, if not the lowest in the developed world, we have the tools to reopen schools. But then you have so many others already saying they don't think it's possible. So it's tough with the mixed messaging to see what is happening, and not knowing is really difficult. Final thought, Guy.
Well, so there's a school district right down the road from me, and they announced recently that their tentative plan is to give parents the choice between sending their kids into school 2 days a week or letting them work from home or study from home virtually 4 days a week. And I heard from my friend who lives in that district, and she said, I don't even know where to begin with this. I can't send my kids to school for just 2 days a week. Or if they're home 4 days a week learning on a computer, what happens the fifth day? They're talking about independent studies for these kids. Right. They're like 8. So, I mean, I don't want to make light of it. This is a very serious policy question. And I think that we can't let fear dictate the policy. There are realities here. But to your very first point, Sandra, it has to be done safely and smartly. And I hope that's the case.
So we'll see what the vice president says a bit later on. He's getting advised by the task force, the doctors, the scientists. We'll see what they tell us 11:30 about returning to school. We've also got Margaret Spellings, the former education secretary, coming up next hour as well. We'll talk to her about that. Parents want to know. Guy Benson, great to see you this morning. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.